Hi, this is Sherry Veronica. Sonia's family, they are on pins and needles, okay? They are, at this point, we're just waiting for the Barbados Police Service to knock on their door and advise them more. We already know that her car was found and it was burnt. And the family says that she didn't live in Black Rock. She lived in Edey Village in Christchurch. That's where she lived, in Christchurch, Edey Village. And they are hearing what I'm hearing. Okay, what's happening in my blog is they're reminded, or we are being reminded, of that young guy who was part of that bakery. Remember the bakery? When, his car was taken and it was found partially burnt, and someone was in the hospital, because it ricocheted, when they lit the fire, it came on them, and one was hospitalized. I think both of them got burnt injuries, but only one was bad enough to be in the hospital. He gave all sorts of excuses, saying that his sister-in-law, threw hot oil on him. He a whole lot of excuses, but it's reminiscent of that. And there was another time a car was found burned, and the owner of the car was subsequently found deceased. So her family, Sonia's family, they are on pins and needles, and social media, you can't stop people from remembering. It's what history makes you do. You go back into your mind and you think, what are the chances? What are the chances? And, it's not looking good. And it's not as though she was depositing money for Shafet, like you would think, well, maybe she had money on her from, to deposit. Nah, she was just a worker. Okay, when you see them in a uniform like this, they're just workers. So she wouldn't have been in any situation where she would have had a large sum of cash on her for any sort of deposit on behalf of her employer. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. So in the meanwhile, they want me to say to you guys that she was out of Edey Village. That's where she lived, in Christchurch. And maybe instead of looking in one area, you should look in the next, because they think it's actually important that you know where she lived, so that instead of focusing on a particular area, the focus is on the area where she was heading to. She was leaving work and heading to Christchurch area. So yeah, that's it on this. I'll keep you guys updated, but like I said, everyone is on pins and needles on this one, because there's a history. You can look back in history and see when things like this do happen, what are the end results. This is Sherry Veronica.